the waking dream. You're in beta plus theta. Beta brain waves are geared towards functioning in our everyday outer reality. Theta is that state of deep sleep, deep mystical dreaming. That's an activation. You journey in your dreams. You fly in your dreams. You enter into another reality in your dreams. So this is that hybrid state of being fully conscious while standing or sitting in a simple posture, and then having a spirit journey, this waking dream, very akin to a yoga meditation.
What if the best chapter of your life hasn't even begun yet? What lies within you is the power to live brighter, bolder, and truer than ever before. So welcome to Vivatude, where caregiving, connections, and career come into balance, and where your vitality, vision, and voice shines through. Because the revolution isn't out there, it's already within you. Welcome to Vivatude.
Welcome to this week's episode of Vivatude. My name is Lauren Archer. I'm your host for everything about emotional and spiritual wellness. Did you know that across cultures and throughout human history, humans have sought ways to move beyond ordinary awareness? Why? Because when we step outside of our everyday thinking mind, we often discover insights, healing, and connections that simply aren't accessible in the rush of daily life. Today, there is a growing conversation about altered states of consciousness. Psychedelic medicines like psilocybin and ketamine are showing profound impacts and effects for trauma, depression, and anxiety. Hypnosis, my own field, has long been validated as a safe and effective way to enter these states and create lasting change. What is it that unites these approaches? Well, it's a recognition that altered states can open us up to deeper feelings of peace, resilience, connectedness, and possibility. My guest today is Laura Lee of the Cuyamungue Institute, and she explores this through the lens of cultural anthropology. Think of it like yoga. Certain positions open the body and mind in specific ways. Well, in the same way, Laura Lee and her colleagues have studied something called ritual body postures. And these are based on symbols and figures that have been found on ancient cave walls, artifacts across cultures worldwide. So these postures, when practiced with intentions, seem to open the doorway to altered states of consciousness, naturally and without any substances. It's a fascinating blend of academic rigor and ancient wisdom, and it offers each of us a safe and guided way to explore other ways of knowing. So, welcome, Laura Lee. Thank you for joining me for this conversation today about how altered states and your work can help us expand what it means to be alive.
Thank you so much, Lauren. It's so good to be here. And altered states have a very, very deep history. They're normal and they're natural. They're just not common in our era today, but they were globally. Why? Because our DNA is designed to enter into these altered states, from waking life into this expanded state of awareness. It's just part of who we are.
Well, I heard you quote something from the founder of your institute once. So I want to get into a little bit about how you came to do this work. And it was something about how we are deprived of.
Ecstasy deprived, she would say. And you're talking about Dr. Felicitas Goodman, the late anthropologist, who was the first to decode ancient artifacts as ritual instructions. She also looked at the world's traditions for entering into these states. And she said, there's so many cultures, but what do they all have in common? If I put all those common steps together into a ritual, then I have what is pivotal and what the human body for millennia has responded to, the set of clues to say, oh, it's time to enter into this state. It's a hybrid state. We say the waking dream. You're in beta plus theta. Beta brain waves are geared towards functioning in our everyday outer reality. Theta is that state of deep sleep, deep mystical dreaming. That's an activation. You journey in your dreams, you fly in your dreams, you enter into another reality in your dreams. So, this is that hybrid state of being fully conscious while standing or sitting in a simple posture, and then having a spirit journey, this waking dream, very akin to a yoga meditation, but because we've added a ritual to call in this magnificent universe to say, you are intelligent, you're magnificent, you're alive, and you are us, you are our home. Um,
Yeah.
Interesting things happen.
Amazing. So in my field, the hypnagogic state is widely recognized as useful for
Yep.
accessing intuition, innovation. Thomas Edison was known to bring
Mm,
himself into this kind of semi-trance state in order to have access to uh, i-
yeah.
ideas and insights for the problems he was working on. So how do you see this work being meaningful and practical for people today?
Good question. Well, that state is accessible spontaneously. But it seems our ancient ancestors are very adept at biohacking this, setting up the situations where you naturally step into this. And in fact, Goodman would say if you dial it back far enough, this was our natural state, and to be able to access this at will. Do I need to be focused on the waking state? Let's be there. Let's shift gears and focus on this other internal state where I can reach the far ends of the universe and back. I can be part of the cosmic song of life, hear it more clearly. And so she felt that these practices were really to put us back into what we should naturally have access to without any other tools. That's how she felt about it. It was so natural. And so the biohacking is simply the body's wisdom. This is an embodied practice. And tuning, and we've left the body behind in terms of our cultural story that we tell ourselves. Women are saddled with original sin. The body's supposed to be leading you into temptation. The early societies felt body of Mother Earth, the body of nature, our bodies were sacred. Everything is sacred. And so let's tune into these beautiful instruments and their full capacities. It was probably a survival mechanism for them to be tuned that intimately to nature, to their ecosystem. And I believe today that none of us can be truly healthy unless all of us are healthy, unless our environment is healthy, because we are part and parcel of that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Even the Navy SEALs, I mean, from what I've read, the book Stealing Fire talks about altered
Mm,
states of consciousness and the
yeah.
benefits of psychedelics. Now, you do all this work with no psychedelics. I want to make that very clear. It's a way to access these higher level or additional expanded levels of consciousness. But
Mhm.
even the Navy SEALs, they do this practice. It's not what you do, but they do a kind of practice where they
Sure.
bring their awareness so heightenedly tuned into the body that they can function as a
Mhm.
unit with expanded consciousness that lets them achieve remarkable things. So, give us a taste of how that can be used, and maybe what some of your the people that participate in these practices on a regular
Mhm.
basis, how do they use this?
Yeah, good questions. Well, first of all, no, we don't use outside agents, psychedelics, plant medicine. What we say is that we're able to access and activate the entheogens within. That which supports these expanded states of consciousness are part of our own biochemistry. And so part of our rituals are very powerful. They're signaling the body, and the body responds to what you ask of it. And so the ritual says, hey, let's, and we've seen this in the laboratory, let's pump out some endorphins. That's the ecstatic parts of ecstatic trance. Let's tune in and awaken those inner senses. Oh, they turn on. And let's blood pressure drops, pulse rate rises. That's a very interesting state of relaxation, paradoxical relaxation. It allows the be in the body and be in this more expanded state as well. And what else happens? There's just a lot of processes we don't even know. We were recently invited into a cognitive research lab wearing these EEG caps, doing our ritual, and we can map out that, yeah, there's some interesting shift that happens simply through this ritual. Maybe it's embedded in our ancestral memory to respond like this because we have so many artifacts around the world and through the eras from the Ice Age on that are mnemonic devices to say, hey, sit and stand like this, and it's activating something. The other part of your question was, what do people do today? We have people from all walks of life who are simply interested in, and compare this to, hey, I do Reiki. I see a lot of similarities to Reiki. I do yoga. This is like yoga. We are sitting in a posture for deep inner experience. I could call this the yoga of the ancients, far, far ancient. Paleolithic, 20, 30,000 years ago, 40,000, those are the oldest artifacts we use. So this has a long and deep history. And so, how do we use this? We use this for just 15 minutes of a deep dive within. And it can seem like an eternity. It can seem like lifetimes are lived. It can seem like much more than the 15 minutes. And so part of the altered state is that our sense of time is altered. Our sense of hearing is altered. Our sense of perception, visuals, kinesthetics. What we find in this work, and what I love about the self empowerment, dial it up on demand work, is that in these processes, we are healer and healee. We are diviner and divinee. We are part of the flow of the universe, and it is washing through our bodies. If you ever doubted that you had an energy body, this work will convince you through direct experience that we are energy beings as well as physical beings, and that this energy is accessible, directable. You can play with it. It truly is like plugging your finger into a socket of universal energy and well-being.
So we're going to come back and talk with Laura Lee of the Cuyamungue Institute. You're listening to Vivatude, and I'm Lauren Archer. We'll be right back.
And thanks for listening to Vivatude. 4 hosts, 1 each week. We help you revivitude your next chapter because purpose, passion, and prosperity isn't out there. They're already within you. Brighter, bolder, truer. Vivatude.